Hi, I'm Kelly at Book and Paper Arts, and today I'm going to show you how to do some mark making and paper staining with coffee or tea. Today we're just going to work with coffee because it is one of my favorite art supplies. You can find it almost anywhere, it's inexpensive, and it's pretty versatile. As you can see, you can use it for starting your pages off, getting you ready to go, or you can use it to also embellish and finish pages. Something that you've already been working on to add some texture and depth. Don't worry about what kind of coffee. You can use brewed or instant. They both give good results. Just try maybe different strengths and see what works for you. One of the ways that I use this most often is in preparing a new sketchbook. Because when I get a new blank book, these pages can be kind of intimidating. So the first thing that I do before I take it on the road is go every few pages and add some tea or coffee marks. Then when it dries, it's already messy and I have permission to just get on with it. The first thing I'm going to show you is the traditional Splot and blot. And yes, those are professional art terms. No, they're not. You need to know that this coffee will dry darker than it is now. So less is more. You can always add another layer of Splot and blot if you need. So take it easy, but get started. You can use a pipette, or you could also just use a drinking straw or a spoon. If I don't have either, I just kind of drizzle. Right. Next, let's look at using the spritzer mister. I have a longer video about just using these in your pages, and I will link to that below if you're curious about how to use or find one of these guys. So the first thing is you could just add some mist. It is very subtle, but again, it's going to dry darker. So on some pages, you probably don't want to overdo it, just some light marks. You can either spritz, or again, you can blot, and that's going to give you a slightly different resolution. You can also use your spritzer and mister with a stencil. Usually when we use stencils, we want pristine, pretty resolution. But this is a different technique that's going to, because since this is so wet, it's going to bleed and be messy and shabby chic. So just be bold, brave, and spray over that thing. And you're going to have this nice, pretty, messy, I think it looks like torn wallpaper or peeling wallpaper, or maybe even something like a fresco. And you can just draw right over it after it dries. That is gorgeous. And now when it dries, I can just start my page. Now let's look at some more traditional plain old mark making. I have a teacup that is just devoted to making coffee rings in my books. Like that. There you go. Now, you don't have to actually use a coffee cup. That's just me being, I don't know, because I can. You can look around you and see what you've got. This is a little Japanese teacup. Okay, and it's going to make a different size. This is from a makeup jar. Okay, so just some found art supplies. Yay. Top of a water bottle. Going to get all kinds of different Remember when we didn't like coffee rings on our pages? It was a different time, huh? Here's another found art supply. It is from New Year's Eve, and it's now not only a souvenir, now it's a free art supply because I can make some little dots like that. And remember, they are going to dry darker, so don't worry about that. You can also try a dip pen. This is a bamboo dip pen. And you could make some doodles and scratches like that. And if you don't have a bamboo dip pen, again, improvise. This is just a twig, or you could use a wooden brochette. And just play around with adding some layers to your page. You can also just use brushwork. It's just a plain brush. And if you want to use this as brushwork, you can add some shadows and highlights to images that you have drawn there. And next is the ever popular old toothbrush. Now you can just or you can be a little more subtle and just do the popping it with your finger thing to make some droplets. And again, all of these are good ways to finish and embellish a page and add stuff to empty spaces. Now, this next technique I've shown a few times, and I hear from people who say, I could never do that. It's just too much. Horse feathers. It's just coffee and paper, people. So be bold. Go big. And what I'm going to do here is just spritz my top border here. And then let it drizzle. Okay. I should have put down something here because it's just going to go on my desk. My desk will live. Now, you've got kind of a funky border, and it's going to look as if your page was kind of left out in the rain. And I don't know. Again, there was a time when we might not have wanted that look. But look what you can do with this. If you were to do it the other way around, you've actually already got a page kind of started here. Some ideas. These could be the beginnings of trees or plants. This could be a hill or a landscape. Or a fabulous creature. Or you could just draw over it like a regular journal page. And finally, our last technique today is playing with our food. Fun with vegetables. This is the base of a head of romaine lettuce. You could also use the base of some celery or other veggies. Just use your imagination, experiment. I got this technique from a lady on Instagram who does printing only with fruits and vegetables. And it is so fun and pretty and inspiring. And I'm going to link to that in the text below here because you should check it out. Now, you want to just ink up your veggie here, really get it wet. But then be sure that you blot it because the first take or two is going to be super messy and want to bleed a little bit. And I want to say again that these are going to get darker and more pronounced as they dry. So don't worry if they seem kind of pale. Now, this is almost like a wallpaper, and you could use it that way. Or again, you can draw into it, use it as an idea for a starting point. I just think that's so beautiful. I want to say again, you are meant to work into these pages. You can either use them as inspiration for a page, or you can just work over it as if it wasn't there. And this is an example I just thought I'd show you of where I use the spritzy misty stuff, and then I just drew right over it. It's not integral to the page. It just adds texture and layer and interest. I have an online newsletter, and it has art journal stuff and altered books, collage. It has free downloads of vintage images for you to use in your work and other just fun and cool stuff. So if you think you'd like that, the link to subscribe is also beneath this video. So please think about that. If you subscribe to my channel, I post every Friday and have more things. So if you have questions or feedback, please let me know in the comments, because I love to compare notes. Otherwise, I will see you next Friday. Get up and go make something.